everybody. Happy Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday of the entire year. I am Gila Kurtz. I'm one of the co-founders and co-owners of Dog is Good, and this is the Dog is Good Lifestyle Show. And we are going to be talking about my all-time favorite topic with a friend of mine, Alecia Evans, and I'll introduce her to you just shortly. But as those of you are heading out of town, and if you're at work and you know you're not really going to do much work today because that's how it goes, or you're doing like everything and it's the one day that you get as much done as you possibly can get done because you know you're not going to be in tomorrow, you're taking travel. But I want to invite you to share with your, hi Stephen, I love that you're always on our show. I appreciate you so much. But as you pop in, I want you to please share with your friends. Some great conversation going to take place here in just a few moments. And of course, as Stephen just did, please introduce yourself and where you're from and who your little doggies are. And he is, Stephen, of course, has his 2 pugs and his 1 tuxedo cat. And, you know, pugs are one of my favorite breeds. Actually, I say that about pretty much every breed, but but I really do love pugs, and I would love to have one at some point in my lifetime. So as those of you are joining in, what we always do here on the show is, of course, a giveaway that relates to the topic at hand. And so this week you can enter to win the Never Walk Alone ball cap. Dog is Good. It has a cute little Dog is Good on the back, and it's one size fits all. It has an adjustable strap, and it's super cute. You must wear that to protect your skin while you're out walking your doggies. And a Never Walk Alone car magnet, also to sport on your car. And then our guest, Alecia, who is the owner of Walk and Sync, is donating as a gift to the winner a Walk and Sync system, which is a fantastic harness and my favorite leash of all times. So you will get that prize and the opportunity and a great discount on her current online course, which just started yesterday. So this will be very timely for you. So if you want to enter to win, pop it on in there. We've got the link below, and you can do that. And then guess what? You're going to want to find out who wins, right? So the place to do that is at the Facebook, the Dog is Good Lifestyle group. You need to be a member of that group to find out who wins. And that is a great place to be too, because gosh, we're already getting close to the end of November, and next month means it's holiday, like big time holiday. And we have some major things planned for all of our fans who are part of our lifestyle group. So I look forward to seeing you guys in there too. We have a bunch of people coming on board. Hi, Brittany. I'm so happy that you're on from Idaho too, home of 3 months. This is so true. And Jessica's on, and Jessica was on our holiday, early holiday party on our Facebook Live, and really appreciated you being on there. And Wyoming, a beautiful state that I must visit. Cheeto and Dewey and Steve, 3 dogs. Everybody has 3 dogs here. There's like a theme going on. And Pam Myers. So yay! I'm just happy to have you guys here, and want to encourage you to share with your friends. And also during our conversation, I would love lots of participation, because there's a lot of relevant stuff that we're going to be talking about. And because it's my favorite topic, which can tie into fur-covered wisdom, I want to remind you, if you are not getting a special note of inspiration from your dog, why are you not? Like, there is no reason for that. You need to go and sign up for your fur-covered wisdom every Monday. Your dog, like Cheeto and Dewey and Steve, Jessica, you probably are already getting it, but just in case, no, I know you're already getting it. They send her a note every Monday and say, hey, and they share their message with her. So I know you would enjoy that as well. All right, Willow Spring. Oh my gosh, that's an awesome name. Love that. Zena, and then your name is awesome, but your dog's names are awesome too. Zena and Takaya and Kalani, Rainy. Wow, and Bulldog Saboko. You guys are like into having your pack. I'm digging it. And I can imagine what Thanksgiving is going to be at everybody's home tomorrow with all these doggies running around. So your dog is your purpose. Oh, I love that. I love it. This is going to be a great conversation. Oh, and if you think Alecia is my twin, she could be, right? I feel like I'm looking at myself. We're like sisters from another mother or something. So we exchange best product use for curly hair. So anyway, hi Rhonda. Oh, Rhonda Pollard is on. She
Hey, Rhonda.
Welcome in. And hello from Arlington, Washington, Julie. Thank you again so much. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm excited to introduce Alecia. I want to share with you just a really brief background. Gives you a little insight into my, I'll call it my woo-woo side. Those of you will bear with me on this. But a year ago, I kid you not, I was working with one of my training clients, and it was a very strong, like the strongest puppy I think I've ever worked with. And I was familiar with the walk and sync leash and harness system. And I said to them, oh my gosh, you need to, I want you to go online and I want you to order this product. Now, I didn't know Alecia, and I certainly don't get any, I never get kickbacks for any products I'm recommending, and I do so because they're things I believe in. And she went and ordered it, and I can't remember, Alecia, if she said she actually spoke to you or something. I forget. Oh, no, I know what it was. She orders it, and the very next day, I get an email from Alecia. And as I'm looking at Alecia, oh, yes, David, absolutely. You most certainly can contact us anytime. We'll give you our contact information in the notes. Stephanie's watching. So anyway, I opened my email, and there's a note from Alecia. And I'm thinking, oh, how cool. The owner of the company is thanking me for referring my client to her. But no, she was talking to me about... she wanted to get together and have a conversation very similar to what we're going to talk to you about today. The really deep connection that we have with our pets and how that can improve not only our pets' lives, but most importantly, our own lives as well, and what we can learn from them. And which is right up my alley. And I was like, that's so weird. I was just telling my customer about you. And then we got on a phone call and we just connected immediately. And it's just kind of cool how the universe works and brings people together and brings opportunities together as well. So I am so excited to introduce Alecia to you now. She is America's animal healer. And I'll just introduce her to you through her background here. And I love this intro. If Dr. Doolittle, Dr. Phil, and Dear Abby had a baby, a love child, let's say, it would be Alecia. Combining her passions and expertise as a holistic healer, holistic dog trainer, professional animal communicator, and distance energy healer, she has successfully assisted thousands of her clients over the last 20 years to transform their animals' behavior, health, and relationship issues safely, naturally, and effectively. And I think I'm supposed to move. I need to move to my right. There we go. I'm always trying to figure out how to get center on this screen. So having experienced the damage of traditional training tools and the effects that they had on her own chocolate lab Barney, she invented the Walk and Sync system, a humane training and walking system for your dog. It is the gold standard of training tools, and it has the mission of ending the choking of dogs during training and walking. So very big why behind Alecia's development of her company, and I love that. She is recognized as the larger transformation that takes place, or that was taking place with her initially, and now she sees with others, it takes place on the human end of the leash, which I totally agree with. And so she created a new model for training called the Sync Canine Facilitated Personal Growth Model. She's also the author of the InSync Method, 6 Secrets Your Dog Wants to Teach You to Unleash Your Greatest Potential. She's also an award-winning TV and radio host, featured columnist, author, lecturer, and workshop presenter on natural dog training, and is the founder of National Trained Humane Day, a worldwide virtual campaign involving the tools we use to train and walk our pups to be humane and pain-free. She currently lives in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado with her 2 dogs and horses, but right now she is on a 2-month road trip traveling around with both her dogs. So welcome, Alecia, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really am grateful.
Thank you, Gila. I have goosebumps.
Yeah, it's fun. And we have a lot of great people on here. So,
yay!
Yeah, and so we just popped in her website too, which you can take a look at. So let's just dive right in because we have a lot to talk about. So I'm just going to like go with the very first thing that pops into my mind, and that is, what? How did you become an animal healer? Like, you didn't start off as a kid deciding this was something you wanted to do. How did that evolve?
It started actually when I was 6, and my mom said, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I'm 6. I want to play with my friend. I want to, but I knew I wanted to be a vet, and I knew I wanted to help animals heal. The reason why I wanted to be a vet was to help animals heal. And then math and science came in about 7th or 8th grade, and it just wasn't going to happen. It's not in my future to go to vet school. But I've always loved animals. I've on a lot of levels related to animals more than I've related to people in many situations. And I became a fitness trainer. I went to school for marketing and international business, but I had been working out with a boyfriend of mine, landed up becoming a elite level fitness trainer, and one of my clients kind of was like my spiritual mom. She brought me on the path of chiropractic and acupuncture. And so as I got into the acupuncture, the next step was studying internal self-healing practice called Qigong with my acupuncturist, who's a Chinese healer from China. And so from there, a friend called me one day about this workshop I had to go to in Hawaii, which involved dolphins, animal communication, and Hawaii. And I was like, okay.
Right.
So that was really kind of how it started in my early 20s, because once I understood the animal communication piece, I was in the ocean on my 27th birthday, and the dolphins showed up, and I swear I saw angels with trumpets. It was like,
wow.
This is your calling. Like, this is how you're going to help animals heal. It's not going to be from the veterinary side of it. It's going to be from understanding a much deeper level of who they are and what they're about. So I was an animal communicator for 10 years to start with, before I went into the holistic dog training. But it was fascinating because the dogs showed me everything that was possible with human healing is also possible with the animals. So my animals were always kind of like my little, kind of experiment projects. Like, so how do you do with this supplement? And so how does chiropractic work for you? Or how does acupuncture work? So that really is where that started. And then my chocolate lab, I had a breakdown one day because I couldn't find anything that would work to stop him from pulling me. Had a very uncomfortable choke chain incident. I realized I had just hurt my dog. I was hysterical crying and made him a promise. I said, someday I'm going to change the way we walk and train dogs so we can understand each other. And lo and behold,
You froze a little bit. I have to refresh.
decided I was going to live there, left within the month, and a client asked me to dog train. So I said, okay, I have enough experience. That started my whole holistic path to see, how does all this telepathic communication stuff work? How does all this, if I'm breathing properly, how does it affect my animal? So then I invented Walk and Sync. And so healer is spelled Heeler for the pun of I teach people to teach their dogs to heal.
Right.
But they're healing each other.
Right. I love that. I love that pun. And, the other thing that I found interesting, no worries on being late, Anne, and thank you for being here. You are such a kind person. I'm really grateful to see you on the show. But backing up to what you were saying, one of the things that people look for often is what they're supposed to be doing. We had this conversation last week with Fur Covered Wisdom, is trying to discover your purpose, or your, really finding a way to pursue your passion. And I hear people make reference to, I got to find it. I got to find out what my purpose is. And really, it's always inside. And then things happen when you're just open to the right moment. It does come to you. And just like you described, that moment with the dolphins, and then moving forward, the experience that you had with Barney, and realizing where you needed to, where you could do to make improvements and do better by your dog. And in doing so, that was the impetus behind a company, and then a product line that is shifting the way people can work with their pets. So it's very interesting when you talk about how we get to where we are based on all these different experiences that we have. So, I wanted to dive in right away as well as to what the walk and sync is, because that was the very first step. You have this great background with all the holistic component, and you already were developing that, and certainly expertise as an animal communicator. And if those of you have questions about that, how does that work? And I think a lot of people do, and a lot of people are like, will that work for my dog? She can tell you how in just a moment. But what was it about the walk and sync that really gave you the tools, not only to walk Barney, but to see the greater shift in what Barney could do for you?
Well, the interesting thing is Barney was the impetus for it, but Barney had passed away like years before Walk and Sync actually came about. The weird thing about it was that I found a chocolate lab stuffed animal at this was after I developed Walk and Sync, and I'd been selling it for about a year, and I was just sort of like, because I'm not a business person, I'm a creative. I probably am a business person, but I wouldn't identify myself as that, because I am most comfortable in the field of like product creation and seeing how energies work. So all the details of business for me had started getting me overwhelmed. And one day, a friend of mine had a thrift store in Colorado, and I go by the thrift store, and there's this stuffed chocolate lab outside, and I was like, okay, Barney, I get it. I gotta keep going.
Another sign.
That was part of that. The synchronicity too of just even naming it Walk and Sync, right? I wanted to name it Walk in Harmony. But there was a conflict with another business that was called that. So I said, okay, we'll go with In Sync. I had no idea. All I wanted to do at the time was invent something that would help change the way people walk and train dogs and make it easy. Because of the background that I have with the animal communication and being able to see and read energies and see subtle shifts in energies right as they're happening, the invention of the Walk and Sync product has brought me so much inner information and inner awareness about what is literally taking place on the subtle levels of what happens beyond what our conscious mind is just reading. So it has been such an incredible journey of not just learning to walk and sync like on the leash, but really deeply understanding why do we all love dogs, right? They're unconditional, they're loyal, they're loving. But the truth is, from an energetic perspective, they hold a very specific frequency. Why do they say with all the studies, dogs can change, they can lower your blood pressure, they can make you feel calmer, they can make you feel relaxed. So what I started realizing was the dogs are actually entraining us into the actual frequency. Not to be weird and woo-woo, I'm talking like scientific quantum physics here.
Yeah, no,
They entrain us in that field, right? The field of play, the field of unconditional love, the field of loyalty.
Yeah.
So then it started breaking down even deeper. I was like, wow, I could see when things got into alignment. I could see the human's breathing change so subtly. But I was like, oh my God, that person, they just changed because they got in sync with the dog. Instead of trying to control the dog's behavior, I started teaching them the inner language of dog, and then started utilizing the Walk and Sync system to help bridge that gap. So literally, like, walking and training your dog becomes walking in sync, almost like on your spiritual path. People meditate, they go to yoga, they go to Tai Chi. People have to walk their dogs 2 to 4 times a day. So why not teach them the very specific body mechanics that literally change the breathing, that change the consciousness, that get them further in sync and alignment with their dog?
Perfect.
So that's how the dogs help us walk in sync.
Exactly. And I wholeheartedly, this is my truth, what you are speaking. I believe this to my soul. And I know that that's why these dogs come into our life for a very specific reason, especially like certain ones do. So let's talk about how that actually works. Backing up with, first and foremost, how the Walk and Sync system helps with step one,
Yep.
making it possible for the person to actually walk their dog. And then secondly, let's address what is going on between the two. And you and I spoke earlier about how we are, well, I'll address that in a second when we talk about part two. But go ahead and share with us, how does the walk and sync actually work? What makes it a tool that makes it so much easier to make leash work fun and just easier overall?
So first, there's all different types of sciences. We have the biological and the chemical sciences, which those are really going to be the things that you can take a blood test, see how the chemistry is, see what's happening in the biology. There's also a field of science called quantum physics. Quantum physics believes that everything is energy and everything is connected. So that's like that thing that when the butterfly flaps its wings all the way in Zambia, Africa, we could have a hurricane in Florida, right? So like everything that happens is connected. One of the things that I recognized first and foremost with training tools was that depending on where the tools are, anything around the dog's neck or the nose, okay, one good pull, one good yank, we could throw out of alignment the very delicate inner workings. Even though dogs are strong, they have very delicate inner workings in the neck and in the throat. If that gets out of alignment, it can actually throw the rest of the body out of alignment from the back end, which will compromise how the dog is actually able to listen to you and learn. It's on a very subtle level, and that happens to be one of my specialties, is understanding the subtle energies so that we can bring about more balance.
Okay, I want to draw an analogy there, because I don't know, this is a personal analogy. I don't know if I've slept wrong or something, but I've had an issue with my neck the past week or so, and of course I'm going to go see a chiropractor, and my friend is an acupuncturist, so she can help me with that too.
And what we don't realize in training is that anything that happens in the neck or the back, there's bones that are connected to nerves. Those nerves are connected into organs that connects directly into the central nervous system. So we are so used to, as trainers, right, we're all taught about the outside and the behaviors. Because I have a whole background of also studying the inner anatomy, understanding the meridian lines, understanding the bones chiropractically of what connects, I started to see, oh my God, these dogs are walking around. We're trying to train them from a place that is not natural to them, and then expecting them to listen to us. And so this, where the animal communication piece fit in so beautifully, is literally understanding from their perspective. This is what we experience when you do X or Y or Z. And having a background in canine anatomy was a huge eye-opener, because what I learned from the dogs directly was that this is not a collection point. Anything around the neck or the nose does not really help the dog understand how to collect their energy, but we have one spot, and it's right here at the chest. And when you press this spot, the dog can't figure out how to go into instinct, because they can't dig into their front legs. They can't activate like, okay, I'm going to bypass this. They actually have to get back into an awareness of their body. So when I paired that with the leash, I realized from physics, the further something goes out on a fulcrum, the more energy you have to use to pull it back. And I thought about this, and I was like, wait a minute, mama dogs don't go, okay, I had 9 of you, have a free-for-all, and then I'll go get you. She's teaching them from a very small space first how to listen, how to pay attention to energy, how to pay attention to her, because if she's got 9 of them, she's got to make sure that they all listen, So what started to happen was when I created the Walk and Sync product, I was like, well, I don't want to let them go all the way to the end of the leash, because I don't really use treat training. I use body, I use language, we use energy. So when the leash was shorter and then the harness clip was right at the chest, and the person just relaxed and the dog had the opportunity to test the boundary and start to back off, I could literally see the dog changing their own brain. And I went, oh my God, oh my God, this is based on the quantum physics science, but I didn't really realize what I was creating at the time. And then all of a sudden they kept showing me this is actually much closer to the way we do this as dogs.
Right.
We don't let them go out and call them back. We don't use treats. We use clear, consistent boundaries. And I was like, okay, some people aren't going to go and like grab their dog by the neck to like, to scold them when they did something wrong. But if they could hold the clear boundary at only 2.5 feet, the dog started changing. Soon as the dog backed up, the person took a deep breath. And I was like, oh my God, this is so much more than just, I followed the anatomy of the dog to make sure there were no straps across the front. So it was open shoulder. But every single time, I thought I was just creating a product to solve one problem, of leash pulling. And then I kept seeing how Walk and Sync was really not just about stopping your dog's behavior, but actually on the other side of the human side, it was changing the human behavior. And then the relationships were just coming together. The behaviors were disappearing, and it was so easy. And I was like, why is everybody making it this complicated thing? It's so much easier.
Right. And I love, that's the other thing that's so cool too, is oftentimes we start off with a particular idea, and then we get feedback from that and can course correct and expand and put more energy into what we see is working. And we learn in ourselves. And I just love that. So what is it that you have learned about dogs and people as you've been doing this over the past several years? What are some of the key things that you've learned along the way that are powerful and important for us to know?
Everything is about a connection. There is no such thing as, just focusing on one behavior, like at someone else's behavior. We're always involved. I would say 90% of dog behavior issues are human related. Right? I'm not blaming the human. I'm just saying, like, we're humans. We talk and communicate in a certain way. The animals have a very specific inner language, which I'm so grateful that they've been teaching me over the years. And it's much easier to be able to find a middle ground. It's much easier for me and for the dogs when I can teach the humans the actual authentic language of dog, not just a body behavior like, oh, lip is up or the tail is in a certain position. But when I can teach the human how the dogs actually receive information, everybody just takes a big, deep breath because they're like, how? I thought I was learning about my dog. And they go, you just taught me so much about myself.
Right.
And so then that's where the dogs actually started to show me this is not just a dog training product. This is a personal growth and transformation space that for those people that might not go to yoga or might not go to Tai Chi or might not sit and meditate every day, this is a way you can build a bridge of understanding of how the human being can get back in sync with themselves, with their health, with their passion, with their purpose, just by taking us for a walk, but doing it in a conscious way. So I added an element.
Expand on that, because a lot of people watching are not going to fully get how that can happen. Can you go a little bit deeper on that?
Sure. So one of the first things I teach in my courses or when I'm working with a client, the first thing we look at is the client's breathing, because we have two nervous systems in our body, one in the chest, one in the belly. Chest is going to activate fight or flight. Belly is going to activate calm and relaxation. For most people, they don't realize that they walk around in the world. Like how you walk your dog a lot of the times is how you walk in the world. And so the dog is an incredible reflection at times that if you really want to shift something for yourself, you pay attention to those subtle things that your dog is doing, because most people are walking around with chest breathing, which means they're already walking around stressed out, fight or flighty, ready to react to something, instead of understanding that they could be walking more peacefully in the world just by shifting from the chest breathing to becoming more mindful that they're belly breathing. They also don't understand how much that affects the dog. Most training today, they don't want to talk about leadership, right? But leadership is absolutely, so it's like you have a daughter, okay? Imagine you have a kid and there's no leadership. You're just like, no, we'll just be friends. Like, there's no boundaries. There's no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Your daughter will probably develop some compensating behaviors because if she doesn't feel like she has the grounding of those parental units to give her certain boundaries and parameters to be able to let herself grow, right? But not take it too excessive and hurt herself. It's the same thing that happens with our dogs because there has to be someone. They talk about the alpha myth, and I want to just debunk that by saying actual alpha brainwave state, it's calm, it's relaxed, it's clear, it's able to step up boundaries when it needs to, but it's calm and centered in itself. It's not dominating, it's not aggressive. I mean, I don't mean to put this on you, but you are the perfect example of what authentic alpha female leadership is about.
Well, thank you, Alecia.
Yeah. So it's really getting back to that mindset and the awareness that we've dealt with a very masculine culture, right, which has been about dominance and aggression.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't understood the female side of what walking in sync with our authentic female leadership essence is really about. And so what that means is that we're calm and clear leaders in our life. The reason I teach what I teach from the different instinct principles is because each one of these, whether it's your breathing or how you're using your eyes and didn't realize it, or where is your body stance? Is it in your toes or is it in your heels? Each one of these subtle physical things in the human body, that's what the dogs listen to much more quickly than your voice.
Yeah.
That's why most often people can get very frustrated by telling their dog something over and over, but not realizing from your dog's perspective, you're not really communicating it clearly.
Right. And the other thing that you and I were talking about prior, and this kind of brings me to that second point, is that we often show up, the humans, with other stuff going on. So we bring to the table with our dogs, with our interactions with our dogs, just our own story, our own stress, our own anxiety, and our own preconceived ideas of what we need our dog to be.
Yes.
So I'm gonna,
yes,
and I want to elaborate on that for just a second, because over the weekend I was working with a couple new clients, and that was actually a comment that was made. I need my dog to be, and then they proceeded with. And what we had to have a conversation around was getting better clarity around who the dog is, how they show up to that relationship and that equation, and kind of turning that around a little bit. And I know, I always talk about the first 2 minutes home, my favorite part of the day, and every dog lover knows what I'm talking about, that physiological shift that takes place in us. And I feel like those are those rare moments where you walk in and your dog is just so elated and behaves in a way that just gives you that immediate sense of relief and excitement yourself. But then
why? But why? Go right there. But why do you feel that relaxation in yourself?
Because in that moment, and I have my dogs with me most of the time, so I always say when I travel, my favorite part of travel is my first 2 minutes home. I have an expectation. So as I am approaching the home, I already know what's going to take place. And that interaction, the level of energy, the level of love that's exchanged, that just brings it actually dissipates any stress that I'm experiencing in those moments, 100%. It is a level of joy that I truly cannot fully articulate. It's why we came up with the word dog fignugan within the brand, because I'm like, it's not happy, it's not joy, it's something
being fully accepted and unconditionally loved for exactly who you are, regardless of whatever we think in our minds of like, oh, I did that right, or I didn't do that right, or oh, I could have done that better. It's 100%. I am so fully loved and accepted for exactly who I am.
Yeah. And not only that, but being able to also give that back. So to receive that, but then suddenly being able to give that back wholeheartedly as well, which we do so much more willingly with our dogs than we do with other people, right? I don't know how many people run into their home so elated to see their family members, which is a shame. And I don't know how many family members are hear the car door shut and race to the door to see their, spouse, friend, mother, child, whatever. But there is something very critical about those first 2 minutes home. And
But we can have that now all day long.
Right. And so
that's the piece of.
Let's go right to that, because you and I could talk on this for hours on end. But let's talk about that. So here you are out walking with your dog. I want to remind everybody that when you are out walking your dog, try to go out with the intention that this is your time. It's your time not only with your dog, but it is your time in the day. These are this moment that is all yours. How are you going to be? How are you going to show up? So how do you help people do that?
So I try to make it less of a mindset thing, because the thing is, when it's another mindset thing, okay, it's coming from the mental brain. We've got two brains in our body, our gut brain and our head brain. Our gut brain is actually first and foremost what takes in raw data. And it was supposed to send it up to the brain to say, okay, I'm giving you this raw data, now figure out how to structure it. What has happened in our world is we become very mental. So we take in concepts, we take in things in the brain, and then we try to filter them down. So when I share with my clients, before they even go out the door, I don't want them to think about anything. I want them to breathe. Because when they start from a place of breathing into their belly, and I teach them how to shift from the chest breathing to the belly breathing, now they're actually being it. You can't figure out how to be it from your brain. Otherwise, it's like trying to take something in. It's almost like if, and I don't mean to be gross, but it's almost like if we ate with our butt and then we tried to digest it through our mouth, it's backwards. So the brain is an open, receptive place, but the belly takes it in.
Okay, so take me through. You're with a client. They have the walk and sync harness. They're having issues. As many of the people who are watching, and some people have already been asking some questions about, certain dogs that some people might be pet sitting. Like Jessica's pet sitting somebody over the holiday, and the dog tends to get nasty, even with their owners. It growls, barks. It's very difficult to walk, doesn't listen, overbearing. And so it makes her wonder what's really going on with the dog. How can she, before she even walks out the door with the dog, or the owners for that matter, what should they be doing in that moment? And how should they, how much time should they be spending on that breathing? What is that process?
So first, you got to just take one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, and take a breath in. Okay? Notice what rises first, your chest or your belly. Because the first thing is we have to be aware of what's going on in us. So this is literally the first place. Our breathing is the first place that our dogs actually connect with us, because they don't listen to this. You cannot fake it till you make it with a dog. If you're not being it, the dog knows immediately, and they're like, okay, you're not in charge, I'm going to take charge, even if I'm not the one in charge. So first thing is, see where you're breathing from. Honestly, don't try to change it. Just be honest about where you normally breathe from. For 90% of the people, it's their chest. So the first thing you're going to do is take your hands and put it on your belly. You're going to relax your jaw, release your tongue to the bottom of your mouth. You're going to breathe in through your nose, and you're going to let your belly fill up with air. And then it's going to rise up into your ribs and into your chest. When you exhale, you're going to send those belly muscles towards your low back. Just like kind of you're doing a little bit of a sit-up, or if you coughed, if you just went, you can feel the activation of those muscles. Send your belly towards your back and breathe that air back out. Breathe in, fill up your belly. There you go. You see how much more expansive your breathing just got? Okay. And what I'm going to suggest too is, would you breathe in through your nose and fill up your belly and your ribs and the rest of your body? Exhale through your nose. Don't breathe through your mouth. Let your belly muscles push all that air back out. We inhale oxygen, we exhale carbon dioxide. We're not exhaling enough carbon dioxide stays in our body, and we start to get a little brain foggy, we start to get a little spacey. So the breath is actually the clearinghouse for being grounded in our bodies. That is the first place that I would start. Okay, because when we can start from a place of calm, we know when we're being pulled off balance. But that place of calm literally starts within our own body, not the head. Right? I can't just say, okay, I'm calm. Right? Because everything else says, no, you're not. But you have to be it in your body. This is why that's where I start with the training. Be in your body. Your breath is the one thing that in one breath will shift you from being in your head to being in your body. Nothing will ever change behavior-wise if it is not preceded with a breath. The breath is the only thing that once it gets taken, then the brain can change. Can't change our brain without breathing. So if we want to change our dog's behavior, if we want them to really know we're fully showing up, we've got to start in our body with our breath.
Beautiful.
And it is amazing. I have an email from one of my students from last night who I really didn't think was even into any of this stuff, but he's got a Bernedoodle, Bernese Mountain Dog Poodle, and they've been 15 months old, and they've been having problems and stuff. So as we were working on it last night in class, he just said, God, when my breathing relaxed, I saw my dog take it down 5 notches. I just got an email this morning. He said, you know, usually by the end of the walk, I am so annoyed with him and we're just at odds. He said, I've really practiced the breathing. And by the end of the walk, he just nudged me on my hand twice as if to say, hey, you did it. Good for you. Like, you're fully here. So just from the breathing piece, because we weren't correcting the dog's behavior, we were correcting the human behavior. So I've got a lot of posters about here's what dog behavior looks like, but nobody's focusing on the human side of the leash of like, what are the physical things we need to do and understand to create better behaviors in our dogs. So this is the part where we've taught them sit and down and stay and calm. They're teaching us breathe, relax, clear pictures, be in your body. Like, these are the things that the dogs are now teaching the humans. If you want to have an in-sync relationship with me, here's how I actually communicate. And it's going to help you as a human because it's going to activate the natural things that you might consider like woo-woo. Those are natural things inside of us that when we honor them every day, it's not woo-woo. That's how we change the world, by becoming that piece. The dogs are just able to now show us how to do it. They showed me how to do it, and now I can teach it.
Yeah, I so agree with that. And can you imagine too how if more people were aware of this and committed to really focusing on themselves first, because that often really triggers down to what is going on with the dogs.
Yeah.
And how that could help also the dogs who, you know, are rescue dogs and people like that.
Yes.
Anne says the most of her training is with the human. So
we're evolving. This is the evolution in dog training. So we have the positive reinforcement to teach dogs certain social behaviors so that we can get along and we can keep them safe. This is the evolution in training, that there's 2 sides of the leash, and these are the dogs coming forward to teach the humans how to become even better female-based leaders, even if you're a male, right? Because the feminine, it's not about the dominance and the aggression. It's about the clarity of boundaries. It's about staying in our bodies. But it's also about being pretty peaceful and fierce when we need to, you know, to stop a behavior, but never to injure another person.
Right.
And they're masters of this.
They are. And I feel that as you talk about the evolution, this is a stage in time when one of my thought processes around technology. And I was asking myself the question a little over a year ago, you know, what is it about our animals that we are so drawn to and so connected to, besides the unconditional love? And
it's these aspects.
Well, it is, because in a time when we are so connected to everything, 24/7, we are the most disconnected we have ever been from each other. Yes. And the only creature in the entire world that's within our sphere, right, is an animal who when they are with us, they are with us. They are present. And that is part of that much more powerful draw that we now have with our dogs. So imagine, I speaking to everybody out there, just imagine being able to gain a better sense of self through your dog, and through that relationship, and then how that would transfer to every relationship you have in your home, in your work, in your community.
But not
Amazing.
just, it's that, and we talk about authenticity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dog is the only word spelled backwards in the entire human language that's God. Now, I'm not trying to get religious here. I just mean God in whatever sense of the word that you connect with a divine source that loves you completely. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So you speak technology. To me, this is the sacred inner technology that was given to us, that was given to the Native Americans, that was given to the animals, that was given to all of the tribal cultures. If you go back to any of the tribal cultures, they will say, this knowledge came to us through the animals first. The animals were our first teachers. Mm-hmm. Humans, and this is what drives me crazy about the whole science-based dog training, they're putting too many human-based things on not understanding why dogs do the things they do from a very specific energy frequency and understanding of how the bigger picture all works. So what this is bringing forward, we have a lot of wonderful, anecdotal pieces about what dogs do for us and all of that. I am now getting into, we're really getting in it. We're really being it and becoming it, because they can teach the steps of that sacred technology. And literally what happens with humans is, once your body physiologically does something, it literally changes your neural pathways. We can take in a concept, okay? But then we're trying to work the concept. And when you are with your dog, with the way that the mechanics are set up, walking them, asking for sits, stays, comes, you literally physically have to embody the physiology. And then that's what actually allows us to become it, because then that physiology changes the brain, not the reverse. Neuroscience is talking about the brain, and the brain can't do anything without the rest of the body. And the dogs are so brilliant. They're I call them dog gurus, really, because it's like they are literally our personal gurus, helping us see a lot of the times what is their behavior reflecting to us. Mm-hmm. I have clients with a huge 110-pound shepherd who has really like a hair wire trigger. I mean, he's extraordinarily sensitive. But what he has taught every single person in this family is that when they're trying to be what they perceive they want to be, it's creating a tension, and the dog reacts to it. As soon as they relax into who they actually are and they physically be it, and they physically walk in that space, that dog's behavior changes in 2 seconds. And it's like every single time.
It's awesome. So let me turn it over to the crew here. And by the way, hi, Michelle. It's great to see you on as well. Want to open it up for questions for those of you who are watching. Some of you are trainers, and some of you are fellow dog lovers. Do you have any questions for Alecia that you'd like me to ask and cover what you may be experiencing? Because let's face it, I find, I don't know if you feel this way, but the most challenging place in training for me is, not for me, but I mean for the person, is when they're trying to figure out how to walk their dog. That's the part where they're always...
That's why I created the walk and sync piece, because literally without me being there, showing them anything, and just setting up the mechanics of it, your dog pulls, you just relax and stop. As soon as your dog backs off, praise him and pat him. It has changed 16,000 lives.
That's great. So I was going to say too, you can get, if you want more information on the Walk and Sync program too, we'll pop in her website again for Alecia.
Yeah, and I apologize that I'm texting. I've got to let somebody know I'm running just a little bit late.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get ready to wrap up too.
Yeah. So the class that I'm teaching is called The Heart and Soul of Dog Training. And what I really decided to incorporate with it, I actually decided, like, even though I've been an animal communicator for 20 years and an energy healer, I decided, okay, how do I combine everything I know and everything I do and be able to share this with people in a way that isn't like woo-woo and weird and out there? It is simple. It's highly effective. People can notice results instantly and go, oh my God, that actually works. So I teach my in-sync method, which is about us really getting in sync on every level. We learn about telepathic communication. We learn about our breathing. We learn about an animal's primary form of communication. And it is not words and it is not body language. It is literally our breath and it is our pictures. This is what they're picking up on first. So it's a 7-week course in which we're exploring not so much the sitting down and staying calm, but literally those inner mechanics, those inner technologies, okay? And this is coming directly from the dogs. It's not coming from a human. It's not coming from another book. It's coming directly from what the dogs taught me about how we best utilize our energy and how we best communicate with them in a way where all of a sudden they go, I know exactly what you're saying. So we feel comfortable, they feel comfortable, and the whole relationship gets in sync just from some very, very simple inner tools.
Okay, so I want you to check out her course. We've plugged in some information on that, but I want to share with you a couple questions, and then I know we need to wrap up. You have to go and actually get to pick up my daughter for Thanksgiving from the airport. So I'm excited about that. Okay, Laura, Laura, welcome, has a dog, and I know a lot of people who deal with the same issue where the dog gets overly excited, possibly, lunging or barking, but just over arousal, over excitement at the sight of other dogs. Question is, how does she get that dog back to a calm place after this has occurred, or hopefully prior to? But what advice do you have for Laura?
So the first thing you want to do is literally shift your breathing, because your breathing has such an enormous effect. How you are breathing in your system literally has such an enormous effect. I was just at Marley's Mutts yesterday working with the guys over there, who's an incredible rescue group in Tehachapi, California. And the dogs were in the barn barking. And Robbie and I were outside, and I just kept getting Robbie to breathe and ground into his legs. Every single time his breathing dropped down, he never said a word to those dogs, which are at least 50 feet away, and every single dog got quiet. As soon as Robbie's energy came up, the dogs started barking. As soon as they said, let's ground again, get back into our body. His breath, what I wanted him to see was how powerful his breathing was, in terms of how it can affect the energy of everything. So to answer that question, literally, it's shifting the breathing from out there and what I can control to in here and what I can affect by my calmness.
So that's beautifully said, because I feel that oftentimes the immediate reaction is to try to calm your dog down, and you're doing so in a way that actually amps the dog back up. So
exactly,
kind of shifting from what your natural response is, just taking 1 or 2 seconds to stop, and I'm going to say they will need to get into their head for this moment to decide to just go ahead and breathe and shift how they're going to show up in that scenario, and not go to that go-to kind of knee-jerk reaction.
And like I said, you can't fake it till you make it with a dog. And what do most people do? You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. Like, right, you're petting the dog, but it's like, but you're not fine. Right. So why would you expect that dog is going to believe you?
Exactly.
Instead, be fine, and then all of a sudden that dog goes, now I can trust you.
Okay, yeah. So good, so true.
It works for us too, because we have to learn that.
Right, and then we probably ourselves need to calm down, because often it's a stressful scenario from
probably
perspective.
Probably need to calm down.
Yes, most definitely they need to calm down. Yeah.
The whole world is like on edge now. And that's
Yes.
why I'm also bringing this forward, because it's like, listen, there's a certain group of people that will go to yoga. There's a certain group of people that will go to Tai Chi. 70 million people have dogs. I'm going to pretty much suspect that at least 80 to 85% of those people are stressed. Their dog is actually the genius and the guru that wants to come in and teach them this really grounded practical wisdom of how they can actually change the physiology of being stressed to being calm and walking in sync, not just with their dog, but walking in sync in the world. Because we need these kinds of calm, relaxed leaders.
Yes, we do, most definitely. So one more question, and we'll wrap up. And speaking of breathing, I don't know if you guys can hear the snoring that's going on beneath my desk, or behind me. I hope you can't. She just stopped. Bola was like having a dream in a snorting, breathing fiasco back here. So Jessica has an 80-pound lab, Pit Mix, hurt himself while jumping into her Jeep as a pup, and now won't jump into the Jeep now. And she would like some tips on how she might be able to ease the fear from him and enable him to jump up confidently and calmly.
First question is he still injured from it, or is he completely rehabbed from it, and now is this just a psychology piece? I'm going to just assume it's a psychology piece, and physically he's able to do it, but psychologically he's got a block to it. So the first thing is never try to have any kind of push towards him getting in the car. Second thing is stand at the car and just literally be calm, relax, and breathe. All right, not injured. Okay, great. So literally start by standing by the car the way he would, that you want him to get in, okay? Just breathe and relax. Breathe into your belly. I don't care if you stay there for 5 minutes. The point is that not that he has to get into the car right now. The point is that we have to soothe the point of trauma and get him back to being okay. The second thing that I would add to that, and this is also what I teach in the class, a dog's first form of communication is actually pictures. So start literally with your breathing, calming everything, you and him, and then start literally imaging a picture that it's easy for him to get in the car. And notice when you get stressed that he's getting stressed, or you get stressed that, oh no, he's not going to get in the car. Because you could be unconsciously flipping your picture and he's going, okay, the car is not safe. I hurt myself last time. So start with the breathing to calm everything, and then make sure you have a really clear visual. Even if he's sitting outside of the car, you literally see him easily and effortlessly and calmly jumping up into the seat. No force, and do not worry if he doesn't do it at first. Just practice that piece. Because your dog loves to please you. That just from the communication side, tuning into that connection. So if your picture lands up flipping that, oh no, he's not going to get in the car, he'll please you with that also. Because he's very literal. Dogs don't think in not and don't. They only see what the picture is.
One of the things I love about what you're saying is you guys practice what Alecia is sharing with you and having those clear pictures. And notice that you start to see shifts in the behaviors in your dog, as well as just how they're reacting to you. How you're manifesting basically what you want, and how that is also applicable in other areas of your life, which is something I believe very strongly in. Is what you are putting out there, what is going on in your head. Oftentimes, non-verbally, it's just there, pops in here and there. But whatever it is you want, just quietly visualize it and have a lot of clarity around that, because whatever it is you are asking for, you will get, whether it's good or bad, it's coming your way.
And we don't realize we do a lot of backward stuff. So everything I really teach in the NSYNC method, it is literally, we're starting with your dog because that's a place where you practice and get direct feedback. But this is literally life skills training. This is literally personal growth and transformation of how you actually literally physiologically get in alignment with what you think, what you say, and what you feel. And I go over all of this in the class. So you know, if you have a thought about it or it's a behavior issue with your dog, just remember our dog gurus are actually teaching us. And it works on both ends of the leash. So they're helping us clean ourselves up as well. And our behaviors.
I love it. Okay, you guys. I want to encourage you to most definitely visit Alecia's website. Go check out her course. It's something I believe in very strongly about. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up with a reminder to enter to win. She is giving away a walk-in-sync leash and harness system, as well as a discount to her course. If you would like to take advantage of that. And then you will also get your Never Walk Alone hat and Never Walk Alone car magnet to stick on your car. Please share this episode with your friends and family, and please join our private Facebook group, the Dog is Good Lifestyle group. And before we bid adieu to our guests, I want to say a word of thanks. Thanksgiving is definitely my most favorite holiday of the year. And I think it's because everybody gets to a place where they really take a moment to think about all the good in their life and what they have to be grateful for. One of the things that I want you guys watching to know is how grateful I am that I have had the opportunity to turn an idea and a passion into something that gets me connected with fellow dog lovers. And I truly appreciate all your support and your participation, and wish you much joy and happiness and relaxation and a stress-free Thanksgiving with your family and friends. And for you, Alecia, too, I wish you a wonderful Thanksgiving, and thank you so much. And we need to connect offline and just, rub antennas more on this subject matter, because I absolutely love it.
And thank you to all our dogs who have decided to come forward and take a vow of silence, that love us that much, that are bringing us back into the awareness of that sacred connection, with ourselves that we, like you said, that we've disconnected from. I thank them for being our dog gurus to teach us. I wouldn't have learned this stuff from humans. I learned this stuff directly from the dogs, and it's like, wow, I'm so thankful for them to be able to understand this on a level that can affect and help so many humans.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well,
so thank you. Thank you for everything you and John do.
Totally agree. All right, guys, have a wonderful holiday. We will see you here soon. And thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.